Hello, I have this guitar here, my Epiphone Les Paul, that has a set of Burstbucker Pro pickups installed. They are great, but I also have another Les Paul. I had a set of vintage PAF style pickups. It's a Greco, you might have seen it. I'll show it to you in a minute. And the sound from them are what I would say vintage. From these I get a more modern sound, I think. And I have ordered a set of Evil Sheep PAF style pickups. And I've shown Mark Johns from Evil Sheep my tone preferences, or I have sent him some clips for him to listen to, and challenged him to come up with a set of humbuckers for me that I can try in this guitar. So Mark has been very kind and put down the hours to make it happen. It's not a sponsored video. I told him I'm gonna pay for this, so because I really want to try it out in this guitar. As much as I love it, I feel that the Greco is always the one I prefer because of the tone. Because this guitar is, the playability of this is very good. And just a tiny bit of difference in tone. And I can't have that, of course. I need to have a good vintage tone. That is what my ears find most pleasing. So I'll let you hear this one now. And I will play a bit on my Greco just to compare what I'm talking about. I'll let you hear it with my Tweed amp, the Tweed from Grand. It's a 5E3 amp and it has a Celestion Blue speaker. Let's put on the Sweet Honey Overdrive. Almost no gain engaged, it's just making it compress a bit more. Sounds good. There is something that I get from the other guitar. I'll try and show you that. Hang on. This guitar is what I'm talking about. So lovely. Where did my cable go? Here. Okay, is it tuned? Tuned, it came like this from the factory, I guess. It just kept tuning. Let's hear it without the overdrive first, like I did with the other one. Okay, overdrive time. I'm not sure if this comes through here, but this guitar inspires me. It's more forgiving in a way, or I don't know. I just like the tone of this and the way this guitar makes me want to play more. And I hope to get that from that other guitar as well, with installing a set of these babies. So without further ado, let's install them in the Epiphone. Okay, I'll start with removing the strings. Can't find my string winder. Yeah, there it is. Yes. So these pickups, they have Alnico 5 in the bridge and Alnico 2 in the neck. So that is how I understand from Mark at Evil Sheep, the common way to do it in the old days, probably with PAF style pickups. So I will go with that first, and he has made the pickup covers they are not soldered, so I can easily remove them and exchange magnets to see if I would prefer another quality magnet in here. But I believe that the default here will do very well for me. And Mark also aged the pickup covers to my request a little, but I have put them in a box, kind of this, with some toilet cleaner. I didn't touch the cleaner, but the fumes from it. But I forgot them for 24 hours, and it became a bit more than I expected. But I think it's cool, and I think it will look good on this guitar. Mark, I hope you don't mind. Okay, let's keep going with these strings, and I'll get back to you. Hello. I recommend to use a little bit of shrink tubing, heat shrink, is that what it's called? On these braided wires, so they don't touch each other or something else, to create some short of some kind. Sometimes a bit tricky to get it to fit, but yeah. So when that's installed, I put it down here. So this part will just solder to be the ground. I'll just give it a bit more leeway here, and then this will protect the braided wire from short out with one of the other things inside the cavity. So I managed to screw up again. I put the frames on the wrong way. They are supposed to be that way. With the, you can see this, there's this wider side than the smaller side, so the smaller side is of course facing towards the neck. I managed to put them that way, and I now have also to turn the pickups around inside the frame before I install them again. There's never one of these jobs without me doing something wrong and having to redo it. That's the norm. I'm getting a bit hungry, so I guess I'm a bit hangry now. All right, let's flip this frame, and yeah, it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky to get these screws to it. Oh, come on. This is why I do these things off camera normally. Probably comes down to not having the right tools. Okay, that seemed to work. So on a side note here, there's something I consider for this Greco of mine. It has turned very yellow, almost extremely, these frames, and also the binding. Watching the guitar from front, you don't see that binding so clearly. So I'm considering changing the frames to something more normal. But what do you think? Should I do it? It's almost sacrilege, isn't it? Nah. It's just the frames, just a piece of plastic. So I think it might look better with that kind of color on the frames. The poker chip here is also very faded. Keep an eye on this guitar and you may notice. I won't do it in this video, but maybe later on. We'll see. All right. I've adjusted the pickups to taste, the height, and also the pole piece screws. So they are now, it's probably a bit hard to see for you, but this is how I start out with it. I will probably fiddle more with that over time if needed. So we'll listen to it. Without the overdrive first. Yeah, so the neck has Alnico 2. I can think that I won't like to try that with maybe a higher numbered value on the magnet. So I have a couple of magnets here, and I will try them in this, maybe in another video. But for now, I'm really happy with these. These sounds vintage to me. You really hear the bridge pickup, how it's snappy and it's sounding vintage in the way that the harmonics and how it breaks up. I think I immediately like these, and they are more to taste for this guitar to me than the Bursbucker Pros. I'll play these to a backing track now, but before that I'll just tell you what I'll do with the Bursbucker Pros, because I have this guitar that is hanging on my wall and has been for a while. You might have seen it. It's my very budget-friendly SG, also an Epiphone from Korea. So I'm not happy with the pickups in this. They sound okay, but there is always times when I want them to sound a bit better, and I think the Bursbucker Pros in an SG will be a perfect match. So it turned out that it was really the bridge pickup that I wanted to change. I came back and played the guitar for a while after being away from it from an hour or so, and I realized that it was really the neck pickup that was to my taste, sounding like the PAF sound that I wanted. And that now I found that the bridge pickup was a bit too bright, even harsh. So what I've done now, I've gone in and changed the magnet from an Alnico 5 to an Alnico 2. You can see from the footage here that I just had to loosen the screws on the back plate there to have the spacers in there and the magnet run freely. So that was quite easy. If you want to do this yourself, be aware that there are some small fine wires there from the coil that you might destroy if you're not paying attention and are careful. I think now it sounds very good. So by accident, this happened. So it went out of phase in the middle position here. I was sure that I had the orientation of the magnet the correct way by putting it so it stuck to each other when they were on the long side or the short side, whichever you take, and also by flipping it that way to see that it was sticking. So obviously I got that wrong, but I think I'll keep it at least for a while. I have the other Les Paul as well, so maybe I should just keep this so I have one option with an out of phase possibility. So there is this thing with the out of phase that is only working when the volumes are equally set. So if I now play it like this, and I just turn down one of the volumes slightly, you can hear that. Turning it up again so they are equal. So I can have my Peter Green tones. Cool. Really happy with these pickups. I think they gave a new life to the guitar. And just very briefly, let's hear the Greco. If you stayed this far, you might as well get a chance to hear this one, to compare, to see, is it that different? Different character, not quite apples and pears, but it's I think that the Greco there has a higher output. String height is, the pickup height is quite similar, I take, because I have them as more or less as close as I dare to before it will get into that wolf tone area. So the Greco needs less gain from the overdrive, and I've found that earlier on as well, as that it really pushes the amp quite hard. Yeah, in comparison to these are more forgiving. So if I add a bit of gain here now. So it's in the middle position now, but they are slightly uneven, the volumes, so therefore it won't go out of phase. There. Nice. I like it. Let's see what happens to the Burstbucker Pros. I'm also very curious, what would they sound like with a different set of magnets? So they have Alnico 5. What if we put Alnico 2 into the Burstbucker Pros? Interesting. All right, I think I'll leave it here. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.